السلام عليكم يا جماعة. This is our fifth lecture in finance and financial management. It will be about working capital management. What's the meaning of working capital? What is working capital management? Working capital management means the difference between current assets and current liabilities. Net working capital, as it's in front of you in this slide, is defined as current assets minus current liabilities. Net operating working capital is current assets minus non-interest bearing current liabilities, which are accounts payable and accruals. What's the importance of managing working capital? Financial managers see that controlling or managing working capital components, which are short-term or current assets like cash, marketable securities, inventories, account receivables, is considered as an indicator for the firm liquidity and profitability, and also its ability to operate or to run the business. So it's very important to be able as a financial manager to control or to manage efficiently the components of the working capital management. يبقى رأس المال العامل معناه الفرق ما بين الأصول. net working capital معناها الفرق ما بين الأصول المتداولة والخصوم المتداولة. الوركينج كابيتال هو كل الشورت تيرم او الكرنت اسيتس زي الكاش، زي الاكاونت ريسيفبل، زي المخزون الانفنتوري. فالمدير المالي بيشوف ان هو مهم جدا انه يحسن ادارة مكونات رأس المال العامل، لانها بتعد بمثابة المؤشر لربحية الشركة وللسيولة بتاعتها ولقدرتها على الاستمرار. يعني انا لما اقدر كمدير مالي ان انا اتحكم او ادير الكرنت اسيتس اداره كويسه، معناها ان انا هقدر، ده بالنسبه لي هيبقى زي مؤشر لقدره الشركه على الاستمرار. Working capital management: gross working capital, current assets; net working capital, current assets minus non-interest bearing current liabilities. Working capital policy means deciding the level of each type of current assets to hold and how to finance current assets. Or in other words, is to determine the percentage upon which the company or the firm is going to rely in its investments on current assets and how it's going to finance these percentage. Mainly there are three main strategies for managing working capital, which is the restricted, the moderate, and the relaxed. The restricted is going to rely on a small percentage of current liabilities and high percentage on current assets. That means that the investments in current assets will lead to a lower return because it's more safe to invest in current assets than in fixed assets, because fixed assets is difficult to be converted to cash or something to cover your own liquidity, but current assets is easy to be converted to cash in order to solve for you as a firm your problem. So if you follow the restricted strategy, means that you are going to bear higher risk because you are going to keep low percentage of current assets and high percentage of fixed assets, but at the same time you are aiming to achieving higher return, because as we all know, the higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower the return. The moderate strategy is going to compromise between holding fixed assets and current assets. The relaxed is going to rely on high percentage on current assets, which means that it's going as a strategy to be a lower risk because it needs to be in the safe side by keeping high percentage of its investment as current assets to be able to face any problem. But at the same time, it's expecting to achieve lower return. يبقى تاني يا ولاد، اللي مهم في السلايد دي ان احنا نعرف ايه هي سياسات رأس المال العامل. احنا عندنا سياسة رأس المال العامل معناها اشوف انا هعتمد على في استثماراتي قد ايه على نسبة الاصول المتداولة وهمولها ازاي. بمعنى اخر، انا عندي 3 سياسات اساسية: الريلاكسد والمودريت والكونسرفاتيف او الريستريكتد. السياسة الريلاكسد هتعتمد على هاي برسنتج من الاصول المتداوله. الاصول المتداوله زي ايه؟ زي الكاش، زي الاكاونت ريسيفبل. الاصول المتداوله بصفه عامه بقدر احولها بسهوله جدا لنقديه تحل لي اي مشكله هقابلها. اذا كل ما انا يبقى عندي اصول متداوله في شركتي او بعتمد في استثماراتي على النسبه الاعلى في الاصول المتداوله، يبقى معنى كده ان انا في السيف سايد، اي مشكله هتقابلني هقدر اواجهها. لكن كل ما يبقى عندي اصول ثابته اكتر اللي هي بتتحول لنقديه او لفلوس ابطا، يبقى معناها ممكن تقابلني مشكله ما اقدرش احلها، ما اقدرش اواجهها. يبقى معنى ان انا اكون مستثمر اكتر في الاصول الثابته معناها ان انا بتحمل خطر اعلى، بس في نفس الوقت متوقع عائد اعلى، لان كل ما الخطر يزيد كل ما العائد المفترض انه بيزيد. يبقى لما انا اقول الريلاكسد معناها انها سياسة متحفظة بتحمي نفسها او بتحط نفسها في السيف سايد. الريستريكتد معناها انها سياسة اجريسيف بتبقى willing انها to bear higher risk بس في المقابل متوقعة higher return. عشان كده بتعتمد اكتر على الانفستمنت في الفيكسد اسيت، لان الانفستمنت in fixed assets will lead to generally to higher return. خلاص. The following example is going to give you an illustration about the three strategies. This exercise, Clegary Company is thinking of modifying its working capital assets policy. Fixed assets are $600,000. Sales are projected at $3 million. The earning before interest and tax to sales ratio is projected at 15%. The interest rate is 10% on all debt. The federal plus state tax rate is 40%, and the Clegary plans to maintain a 50% debt to asset ratio. A 50% debt to asset ratio. This sentence means that the company is going to calculate or to consider its debt as 50% of the value of the assets. Three alternative current asset policies are under consideration: 40%, 50%, and 60% of projected sales. What's the expected return on equity under each alternative? In this exercise, he wants you to calculate the return on equity, which is the ROE, or the net income over the total owner's equity. And he gives you three considerations for holding current assets, three policies: 40%, which will be the restricted, 50%, which is the moderate, and 60%, which is the relaxed. As it's in front of you at the beginning, we are going to calculate or construct the balance sheet of the company and then the income statement of the company. The first step that we have current assets. He told you that the current assets will be 40% in the first strategy of the sales. The sales here is 3 million, which means 40% out of 3 million equal to $1,200,000. $1,200,000. يبقى current assets in the first strategy equal to $1,200,000. We calculated by multiplying 40% times the projected sales, which is $3 million. In the second policy or the second strategy, the current assets will be equal to 50% of the sales. The sales 3 million, so 50% of 3 million equal to 1,500,000. In the third strategy, which is the relaxed, 60% will be current assets, which is equal to 60% times 3 million equal to 1,800,000. The fixed assets, he told me in the previous slide that the fixed assets equal to 600,000, so it will be the same number among the three strategies. So the total assets in the first strategy equal to 1,200,000 plus 600,000 equal to 1,800,000 and so on. يبقى أنا دلوقتي يا ولاد حسبت الكرنت assets إن هو بيقول لي في الاستراتيجي الأولانية 40% من البروجكتد سيلز. السيلز عندي ب3 مليون، 40% منها هتبقى 1,200,000. السياسة التانية 50% في 3 مليون هيديني 1,500,000 وهكذا. هجمع الفيكسد assets رقم ثابت في التلاتة، هبتدي أجمع، هقول الكرنت assets بلس الفيكسد اسيتس يديني التوتال اسيتس اللي هو مليون وميتين وستمية، هيديني مليون وتمنمية، مليون ونص وستمية هيديني 2 مليون و100 في السياسة التانية، وفي الأخيرة مليون وتمنمية زائد 600 هيديني 2 مليون و400. يبقى التوتال اسيتس أنا حسبتها. طب as all of us know from year one, the total assets equal to total liabilities and equity, total liabilities and owner's equity, which means in the first strategy, if total assets equal 1,800,000, this means that the total liabilities and owner's equity will be equal to the same value, which is 1,800,000, and this will be the same in the other two strategies. زي ما احنا عارفين من سنة أولى ان التوتال اسيتس في البالانس شيت ايكوال للتوتال لايبيليتيز والاونرز ايكويتي، فاذا كانت طلعت هنا ب 1,800,000 يبقى معنى كده ان في السيم استراتيجي التوتال لايبيليتيز واونرز ايكويتي equal to 1,800,000 and so on in the other strategies. And he told you in the previous slide that the company is going to follow 50% debt to asset ratio, which means that the debt equal to 50% of the asset. So in the first strategy, if the assets equal to 1,800,000, this means that debt will be equal to 900,000. And in the second one, if it's equal to 2,100,000, that will be equal to 1,050,000. وفي الثالثة إذا كانت التوتال assets ب 2,400,000 يبقى الديت هيبقى نصها 1,200,000. Which means that owner's equity or equity will be equal to, in the first strategy, the 1,800,000, which is the total of liabilities and equity, minus the value of debt, which is 900, which means it will be equal to 900,000. Or we can say that we take 50% as debt, so the other 50% will be equity, which means here 900 and here 900,000, and so on in the other strategies. يعني احنا نقدر نقول مثلا in the moderate strategy the total assets equal 2,100,000, 50% of it هيبقى debt اللي هو 1,050,000، يبقى ال 50% التانية هتبقى equity اللي هي 1,050,000، ويبقى الأخيرة 2,400,000 هقسمهم على 2، نصهم debt ونصهم equity. By this I finish the balance sheet. Then the second step, which is the income statement. The income statement will start by the sales, which is $3 million in the three strategies. The earning before interest and tax to sales ratio equal to 15%. He told you in the previous slide that the percentage of earning before interest and tax to sales equal to 15%, which means it's equal to 15% of the sales. So in the first strategy, 3 million times 15% equal to 450, which will be the same value in the other two strategies. يعني هو قال لي ان نسبة ال earning before interest and tax 15% من المبيعات. هضرب 15% في ال3 مليون هيديني 450 في الثلاثة. طيب الانترست equal to 10%. الانترست is calculated on what? Calculated on debt, which means in the first strategy I am going to calculate 10% of the 900,000, which means 10% times 900,000 will give me 90. In the second strategy, the debt equal to 1,050,000. So 10% of this value equal to 105,000. In the third strategy, the debt equal to 1,200,000. 10% of it means 120,000. يبقى this means the earning before tax will be equal to 450 minus 90,000. The interest rate will give me 360 in the first strategy, and so on in the second and the third. في second strategy احنا حسبنا 450,000 minus الانترست اللي هي 105 هيديني 345. في الثيرد strategy أنا عندي 450,000 earning before interest and tax minus الانترست 120 will give me 330,000. This is the earning before tax. Then I am going to calculate the tax, which is 40% of the earning before tax, which means in the first strategy I'm going to multiply 40% times 360 will give me 144. In the second strategy هضرب 40% في 345. For the third strategy I'm going to multiply the 40% times the earning before tax, which is 330. The result will be the net income, which is equal to the earning before tax minus the tax. So in the first one, it will be 216,000, 207,000, and 198,000 respectively among the three strategies. The return on equity equals to the net income over the equity times 100 in order to calculate it as a percentage, which means I'm going to divide the net income in the first strategy, 216, divided 900,000, which is the value of owner's equity, times 100%. It will be equal to 24%. And in the second strategy or the moderate strategy هقسم ال 207 النت انكم على الايكوتي اللي هي مليون و50 في 100 هيديني 19.7%. And in the last strategy I'm going to divide the net income, which is 198 divided 1,200,000 equity. It will be equal to 16.5%. As it's in front of you, the higher the percentage of the current assets in the investment of the company, the lower the expected return. In the first one, it's the highest, 24%, 19, then it becomes 19.7, then it becomes 16.5%. زي ما انتم شايفين، كل ما نسبة الأصول الثابتة زادت في الاستثمارات، كل ما معنى كده ان العائد المتوقع هيقل. هنلاقي في لما كانت النسبة 60 في الريلاكسد كان العائد 16.5%، لما كانت 50 بقى 19.7%، لما كانت 40 اللي هي اقل نسبة بقى كان 24%. In this exercise we are going to compare between two companies, Vanderhiden Press and Hare House Publishing. Had the following balance sheet as of December 31st, 2005. The earning before interest and tax, which is below the table of the numbers for both firms, are $30 million, and the effective federal plus state tax rate is 40%. What is the return on equity for each firm if the interest rate, take care of this, on current liabilities is 10% and the rate on long-term debt is 13%. Assume, number B, assume that the short-term rate rises to 20% while the rate on the new long-term debt rises to 16%. The rate on existing long-term debt remains unchanged, which is 13% only. What would be the return on equity for Vanderhiden Press and Hare House Publishing under these conditions? Which company is in riskier position and why? يعني هو مديك two cases. الكيس الأولانية إن كل شركة منهم هيبقى الفايدة على الأصول المتداولة أو الأصول اللي هتتسد بسرعة 10%، وعلى القروض أو الأصول اللي هتتسد بعد فترة طويلة 13%. وبعدين في بي قالك افترض ان الانترست ريت على الشورت تيرم زادت ل20%، والانترست ريت على اللونج ديبت الجديدة 16%، والقديمة فضلت زي ما هي اللي هي 13%. فبيقول لك انهي الشركتين موقفها عندها موقف الخطر بتاعها اعلى وليه. The answer is very easy. A and B will be answered as the following in front of you by performing the income statement for both companies under both situations in A and B. The income statement, the first step in it is the earning before interest and tax, and then we are going to subtract the interest, and then we are going to subtract the tax, exactly the same like the previous exercise. Let's have a look. In the first company, which is Vanderhiden Press, in part A, the earning before interest and tax is the same in all situations, which is $30 million. The interest rate, how we calculate this interest rate, which is 12,400 or 12,400,000, because all the values here, as he told you, between brackets thousands of dollars, which means you have to add 3 zeros, or you can keep it like this. The 12,400 are calculated. He told you that the interest rate on short term is 10%. So the first company have current liabilities 20 $20,000. So 10% times $20,000 equal 2,000. And the interest rate on the long-term debt, which is in the first company 80, 13% out of 80 means 10,400. So 10,400 plus 2,000 of the short term equal to 12,400. again يبقى احنا دلوقتي الانترست دي حسبناها ازاي. هو قال لي في بارت A ان الانترست ريت 10% على ال current liabilities اللي هي في الشركة الأولى 20,000، يبقى 10% من 20,000 ب2000، و13% على ال long term debt اللي هي في الشركة الأولى 80,000 long term debt، يبقى 80,000 في 13% اداني 10,400 زائد ال2000 الانترست على الشورت تيرم اداني 12,400. يبقى معنى كده ال taxable income will be equal to 30,000 minus 12,400 equal to 17,600. The tax 40%, 40% out multiplied by 17,600 will give me 7,040. يبقى the net income equal to the taxable income minus the tax, the 17,600 minus 7,040 equal to 10,560. The equity equal to 100,000 because the common stock and the returned earning in both companies 50 and 50, which means it's the equity equal to 100,000. That's why we write it here 100,000. The return in equity will be equal to the net income, which is the 10,560 over the 100,000 times 100, exactly the same like the previous exercise, will give me 10.56%. 10.56%. يبقى بالنسبة the other company in the first situation the same. Heron House Publishing part A. The EBIT 30 million or 30,000 minus the interest, which is calculated by multiplying 10% times the current liabilities, which is 80,000, which means equal to 8,000, and 13% times the 20,000 will give me 13% times 20,000. The result will be added over the 8,000. It will give me 10,600. Then we are going to subtract the interest from the earning before interest and tax to give me taxable income 19,400 multiplied by 40% to calculate the tax equals 7,760. I'm going to subtract the tax from the taxable income 19,400 minus 760 equal to 11,640. The ROE will be equal to 11,640 over 100,000. The owner's equity will give me 11.64%. نفس الخطوات اللي عملتها في الشركة الأولانية بعملها في الشركة التانية. يعني هقول 30 ناقص الانترست حسبناها 10% على الشورت تيرم اللي هي في الشركة التانية 80 و13% على اللونج تيرم اللي هي 20. وهكمل نفس الخطوات هيطلع لي return on equity 11.64%. طيب ايه الفرق بين part A و part B؟ الفرق الوحيد the difference between part A and part B is the part of the interest, because in part B he told you that the interest rate on short-term liabilities will raise to 20% and the interest rate on new long-term liabilities equal to 16%. And here in both companies we don't have new long-term liabilities, we have only old long-term liabilities on which its interest rate will remain unchanged as he told you in the previous slide. يعني ال interest rate على ال long-term liabilities هي ما اتغيرتش لأن أنا هو ما اقترضش جديد، ما خدش قرض جديد. يبقى أنا لما هاجي أحسب ال interest في part B when I'm going to calculate the interest in part B for the first company, I'm going to multiply 20% by the short term, which is 20,000. So 20% times 20,000 equal to 4,000. And the interest rate on long-term debt will remain the same, 13% times 80,000, which will be equal to 10,400 plus 4,000 will give me 14,400. and I'm going to continue the same steps as the previous requirement part A. And in the second company part B, I'm going also to change the calculation of only the interest. The interest will be 20% times 80,000. The short term will give me 16,000 plus the results of multiplying 20,000 the long term debt times 13%. يعني الانترست بس اللي هتتغير، هضرب ال 80,000 اللي هي الشورت تيرم ديت في الشركة التانية في 20% يديني 16 زائد اللي هيطلع من لما هضرب ال 20,000 اللي هم اللونج تيرم ديت في ال 13% الانترست ريت هيديني 18,600. وهكمل نفس الخطوات، هطرح ده من الإبت واحسب التاكس، وفي الآخر هطلع الريتيرن اون ايكويتي اللي هو 6.84. If you look on the answer, you will find that in the case that the interest rate, like he write for you here, the Vander Hidden Press has higher ROE, which is 10.56%, has higher in the second case, which is 9.36%, and in the other company is 6.84. When you compare between both companies, in A you will find that the second company has higher interest, which is 11.64 versus 10.56 for the first company. And in the second situation, you will find that the first company, Vander Hidden, has higher return on equity, which is 9.36% versus 6.84%. يبقى انت هتلاقي ان الشركة الاولانية لما كان الشورت تيرم انترست واطي اللي هو كان 10%، هتلاقي ان العائد بتاعها، معدل العائد بتاعها اقل من الشركة التانية، والشركة التانية هيبقى معدل العائد بتاعها اعلى. طب لما when the interest rate on short term liabilities raised to 20%, the return on equity for the first company will be higher than the return of equity on the second company. طيب احنا هنا simply هو بيقول لك انهي من الشركتين الريسك بتاعه اعلى، مين من الشركتين الريسك بتاعه اعلى. هنلاقي ان عندنا الشركة التانية في the second, which company is riskier? The second company is riskier in position because its profit and return on equity are much more volatile, which means the change in the second company is higher than the change in the first company. The second company decreased from 11.64% to 6.84, which is very high change. In the first company, the change was limited. It changed from 10.56 to 9.36, which is a limited difference. Second, Herrenhaus must renew its large short-term loan every year, and if the renewal comes up at a time when money is very tight, when its business is depressed, or both, then Herrenhaus could be denied credit, which could put it out of business. Some of the components of the working capital management: the inventory conversion period, which is the time needed to convert raw materials to finished goods and sell them. The average collection period, which is the time to collect cash following to the sale, or the time between the sale and the collection of cash. The payable deferral period, which is the time between the purchase and your payment. Finally, the cash conversion cycle, which is one of the very important components of working capital, equal to the inventory conversion period plus the average collection period minus the payable deferral period. The shorter the cash conversion cycle, the better, because we'll have lower interest rates charges and higher profit. يبقى احنا عندنا الانفنتوري كونفرجن بيريد هو الوقت اللي ما بين ان انا احول المواد الخام عندي لبضاعة جاهزة وبيعها. الافريج كولكشن بيريد الوقت ما بين ما بعت وحصلت فلوسي. البيبل ديفرال بيريد الوقت ما بين اشتريت وسددت ودفعت. والكاش كونفرجن سايكل بتبقى زي ما انتم شايفين الايكويشن اللي قدامكم، اللي هي الافريج كونفرجن بيريد بلس الافريج كولكشن بيريد ماينس البيبل ديفرال. period. وكل ما تبقى اقل كل ما ده indication كويس للبرفورمانس بتاع الشركة وللبروفيتابيليتي بتاعتها، ومعناها انها تتحمل interest rate اقل. طيب الاكسرسايز اللي قدامنا ده مديني شوية ارقام وطالب مني احسب الانفنتوري conversion period والافريج collection period والpayable deferral period. just substitution يعني inventory collection conversion period هي الانفنتوري على الكوست of goods sold per day عشان كده قسمت الكوست of goods sold على 365 because he told you here that the cost of goods sold per day, so I'm going to divide the value of cost of goods sold divided 365 because the values he gave it to me is annual values. The average collection period equal receivables over the sales per day. Receivable over sales per day. So the inventory conversion period will equal to 90 days. The average collection period, just a substitution in the rule. 90 days. The payable deferral period equal to the payables over purchases per day or cost of goods sold per day. So I'm going to divide the payables over the value of the cost of goods sold divided 365 because it's per day. It's equal to 54 days. So the cash conversion cycle will be equal to 90 days plus 90 days minus 54 equal 126 days. Again, you have to write this. Shortening the cash conversion cycle results in higher profits and better stock price performance and lower interest rate to be beared. At the end of this video, I have to told you that any comment in any exercise is very important to be written. Even it's not written here in the slide and I told you in the video, you have to write it. Thank you.